Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, and we're getting ready for North London Derby week, everybody. With this sort of pre-record, I'm going to be discussing the 3-4-3 versus the 3-5-2. Right away, everybody, I want you to give me your choice, your sort of pick for the upcoming North London Derby. Would you go with the 3-5-2? Perhaps that sort of solidity in midfield, probably get to add Basuma in there, maybe even Skip if you like him. Or would you go with kind of the true and sort of tested 3-4-3, which has been maybe not as effective in certain games, but also has been kind of the formation that has gotten us into the Champions League places and has been sort of the go-to for Antonio Conte. But everybody, before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button. Everybody, like I said, do give me those formations into the comments down below, everybody. But let's get going. First, we're just going to kind of just put these two teams on paper. Maybe start with the 3-4-3. Kind of just look at it. Of course, we might go with the likes of I believe it would be Emerson, maybe if it were a right wing back situation. Perisic probably is the other one. I think Emerson would be chosen just because of the defensive solidity. I do believe Ben Davies is probably still going to be hurt, so Longley would be expected to come into the team. Hoiberg, Bentoncourt, Kulusevski, Kane, and Son is what I've gone for. Quickly on Arsenal, they do Ben White now as kind of a right back instead of Tomiyasu. Saliba has been kind of their new and in fact quite impressive sort of ball playing center back in the team, playing as a right sided center back. Gabriel is kind of still the mainstay there. Tierney, I think, is going to be playing in this one as sort of a more of a forward thinking kind of left back. Martinelli out wide with Xhaka as well as Partey in the middle. Partey could be a doubt for this one, and then Odegaard, I do believe, is going to be healthy, playing as kind of the creative midfielder and sort of a 4-2-3-1/4-3-3, and then Bukayo Saka out wide on the right with Gabriel Jesus up top. But that's the 3-4-3 sort of look to it. And if we were to kind of maybe just look at it in terms of how it might be in possession, if you kind of know what I mean, and maybe a typical sort of image of what it might look like would be kind of something like this is what I've drawn up here. Is we do imagine that since Arsenal are at home and also the way that they do play, I do imagine they'll have plenty of the ball, everybody. And so this could be kind of the way that I expect sort of their general kind of made up shape to be. This isn't obviously supernatural. It's kind of, quite choreographed or quite, man made by myself here. But I think this does sort of reflect how Arsenal play and how they might be sort of generally positioned with some of their personnel, but also how we might be if it were a 3-4-3. And the 3-4-3, we kind of would set up with that deep lying 5-4-1 shape. And you can kind of see it there with Romero, Dyer, Longley, Perisic, and Emerson forming that back line. But maybe the most important part that forms kind of that four-man midfield is Kulusevski and Son dropping into kind of the midfield, and in fact kind of tucking inside often inside Emerson and Perisic. It even can be the other way around. Sometimes we've seen it where then Kulusevski and Son actually stay on the wings and stay very far out wide, whereas Emerson and Perisic actually tuck in maybe more to the middle. Regardless, you still have that four in the middle, and it does make it really hard to penetrate for certain teams. And it does make it very difficult, I think, for certain teams to come up against us, because it has been a difficult one for a lot of teams to penetrate. Even Guendouzi has said before in the past that he thought that they had plenty of the ball, but he thought this 5-4-1 sort of shape was really hard to break down. And I know it's not been everyone's favorite sort of formation, doesn't produce the most silky sort of football in certain games, but it has been very effective for us. And I think the way that you can see it drawn up here, you can sort of see it with your own eyes, if you know what I mean. Very hard to break down. But quickly, with the likes of Arsenal, just to explain maybe kind of the positions that I have them in here, Martinelli plays very far out wide, would like to come up against the opposing fullback in the one-on-one situations. You have Bukayo Saka as well. Out wide, he's also going to be doing the same thing, playing in those wide situations, wanting to come up against his man in the one-on-ones. You have Gabriel Jesus roaming around, playing various sort of positions and being able to pick up various pockets of space as kind of a free-flowing kind of solo striker up there. Odegaard, kind of the same thing, will be sort of picking up lots of positions and sort of free-flowing, free-roaming kind of player. Thomas Partey is sort of the real holding midfielder, I would say, in the team, is the one maybe usually furthest back of the midfielders. Actually, Granit Xhaka is often actually found quite high up the pitch, even oftentimes higher than the likes of Odegaard from what I've seen before. You have Gabriel playing left-sided center back. He's going to be able to be kind of more forming a back three with Saliba and Ben White, and that's because they like Tierney maybe being that bombing fullback, but they don't want to have both fullbacks, I think, going up at the same time because they could easily get exposed, especially against a team like Spurs. And so they have Partey kind of maybe sitting back a bit more defensively. They usually have Granit Xhaka actually going a bit further forward. Probably should have put him up there, but Ben White, Saliba, and Gabriel sort of form a back three when they really are going furthest forward. We saw Tomiyasu do something similar last season. This season, it's Ben White. So that's sort of kind of explaining maybe the positions of the two teams there and kind of what it could look like on paper. So do let me know your thoughts of it, and do let me know kind of what you thought of my breakdown of it. Perhaps maybe something I left out. To go into the 3-5-2, you can see what I've done here is I put Basuma in instead, and I've taken out Kulusevski, and I did actually keep Emerson on the pitch. That's just because I feel like Conte will still go with Emerson for this game in particular, just because he's going to maybe want to play a bit more kind of conservative, I would imagine. I don't think he will care too much in the beginning of the game about the forward abilities of Emerson. He'll really just be thinking about not conceding, is what I imagine Conte wants most, especially in that first half. But yeah, Basuma goes into the middle, pretty much the same lineup from there, except Sonny and Kane form that front two. And what we've seen be really effective about that is Sonny plays in probably a more natural position, or not even a more natural position, because he's played in the left wing positions before, but it's more that Son is actually able to do maybe the types of runs and the type of movements and the types of role that he's probably most comfortable with, if you guys know what I mean by that. Because I think when he plays as the left wing, the 3-4-3, he's asked to drop deep. He's asked to hold up the play a bit more. Often those center backs, I feel like, follow him and make it really difficult for the likes of Sonny. Whereas before, when he played as a left wing, he was asked to just maybe make those runs in behind, make the timing with Kane sort of perfect, and be kind of basically a second striker while still sort of operating on the left wing. At least that's just my take on it. Whereas with the left wing sort of position in 3-4-3, he's asked to do some things differently. And I think that's why we've seen Son sort of struggle from time to time. But I think he's still learning, and I think he's still had exceptional games playing in that sort of position. Don't get me wrong. But the reason he definitely got such a liftoff in that Leicester game was being able to play in this 3-5-2, where he's allowed to be able to run through the channels. He's allowed to be able to time his runs with Højbjerg or Kane, players who are able to play him through the lines or over the top, whatever it may be. And it can be a very effective formation, especially on the counterattack. The one thing I would say, though, is with the 3-4-3, you probably get more options with the likes of Kulusevski being able to connect counterattacks and whatnot. Whereas with this one, you're going to need Højbjerg, Bentancur, Kane, Perisic to really step up in their creative sense, because it's going to be Sonny, we all know, making those runs in behind. Kane as well will make some runs in behind, but we're going to need the passing game and the creative ability of Bentancur, Højbjerg, Basuma, Perisic, Kane to really be top notch. And because we're missing that creative player in Kulusevski, who by far is still one of our most creative players on the pitch. Kane and Son, though, I mean, together, they're probably world class on their own. And you could look at this as being the safe option, that 3-5-2, because you get that solidity with Basuma coming in. Bentancur and Højbjerg can be given a bit more license defensively, but then as well, what they do have is now Kane and Son being able to have that sort of connection that they've always had without maybe complicating things with other players, or maybe players like Richarlison or Kulusevski. They can just focus on themselves, be able to combine with each other. And it's been proven to be very effective. No matter what teams do against these two, they always find a way to destroy a lot of teams. And I could think this could be the very effective formation going into this one. But everybody, do let me know what you think, and do let me know what my breakdown is of this. And now that you've seen the two teams on paper, let me know in those comments down below what formation you'd like to see going into this one. And as well, feel free to throw in a super thanks if you enjoyed this video, and if you feel like you want to see more kind of these breakdowns like this. But everybody, on my way out, I'm just going to say the 3-5-2 is sort of going to be my choice going into this one. I think we're going to be a bit safer, a bit more solidity. And with the way Son played, kind of going into that 3-5-2 against the likes of Leicester, I could see him absolutely tearing apart the Gooners. And who knows, if we need to go a bit more forward thinking, switch to that 3-4-3. I'd rather see it start with the solidity of the 3-5-2, then switch over to 3-4-3. But everybody, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like I've said, hit that like button on your way out. But as always, I will be seeing you. Come on, you Spurs.